So now let's get started on the top fuselage. I just slid that on there for the heck of it. So now put our top fuse on. I'm gonna have to cut a little bit of this away because of that external horn. So I'm just gonna cut a little bit of a rectangle here, or a little notch out of it. The trick is to take the least amount of foam you can out of there, because you want it to be strong. Nothing broke. That's perfect. Look at that. We've got a nice solid fit on there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fit all the tabs into their holes at this point. You can see that. I'm going to go one tab at a time. Unless you're pro and you can do 10 at a time, then by all means go ahead. That's just the sound of the tab going into the holes there. There we go. And that should be flush. Absolutely perfect there. Alright, so let's make sure everything else is solid in there. Alright, that's good to go. Let's do this first. I'm gonna sit down and try to make this easier on myself. Let me just make sure the camera's aiming at a good spot. This is where we want to be, right here. So this is where I'm going to be working. What you want to do is make sure that these all stay in their holes. Well, it looks like they actually came out, so I don't know. It's kind of an awkward position, but it's not too big of a deal. Just as long as you get a good amount done at a time, and make sure it hardens before you start working on the other holes. So you want to go all the way up to there. Don't put anything in this little notch there. If you have a yak, that notch there is for your motor, because sometimes your motors will have an external shaft on the rear side. So I've already made that notch for you. Let's kicker bottle. Let's get on both sides. Now here comes the fun part. This is where your trash comes into play. What you want to do is grab that trash that you made from your beveling. They should look something like these. No, that's not trash. That's not trash from the beveling. I don't know what I did with them. I seem to have lost them. But oh, here we go. Here's a few. I accidentally threw them away. Well, here's one, but that one's a little big. Let me grab another one. Here we go. This will work. So here's your trash from the beveling. What you want to do is you're just going to put a little bit of glue in there and just fit that 90-degree corner right alongside that ridge. But if you have a motor mount, or if you're using a motor mount with something like, or with one of these kind of motors where they have the actual tabs, so you got to screw it in, you're going to want to leave that leave a little bit of a space there when you put your gussets in there. Make sure you've got all that extra kicker out of there, because you want to do this quick and clean. Let's come to size first, so that way we know what happens. We know how far we're going. So just kind of leave it like that, get an idea for where it needs to go. Put a little bit of glue in there, and slide it in there. Now, you want to do one on the other side too, just to make sure it's nice and sturdy. Let's go alongside like that. And same thing on the other side, exactly the way you did it last time. I've got a little bit sticking out on the front, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going to clip it. So I'll be using a motor mount too, just so you can see how it's done. I like to use the Hacker 810 9L for power plant most of the time, but I'm really liking the way these work, and I have a few of them laying around, so that's what I'm going to throw in there for now. Let's go. Let's do the rest of these tabs first before we get on with our motor mount. So let's take this forward a bit. You're going to lift this one up without tearing up the others, if you can. pour a little bit of glue there inside that hole. Pour it all the way down that center line. Put that one back in its hole. Put this one back in its hole, and then make sure it's really tight in there, so that way you've got a good amount of glue pressure there. Now, something I just accidentally did is I put a little bit of glue where that servo is going to be, so let's make that flat. Push on that real quick, make sure it stays. There we go. I actually didn't like the way that one looked, so I'm just going to kick it out again real quick and keep it going. There we go. So now let's go on with the tail of the rest of these. So let's just move that one aside. And I'm feeling bold enough to go all the way down in one shot. One straight shot here. Now comes the fun part. Real quick. My alarm will not shut up. There we go. Perfect. So now, here comes the last part before we can do our rudder. And the rudder is where it finally starts looking like a plane. You just want to put a little bit of glue in here, where the bottom and the top views meet. Right in there. Wipe that off, just make sure it's fine. Use a piece of foam when you do that. I've already got a bunch of glue on my hands, so I'm not worried about it. There we go. That's solid. Now we can put on our rudder and then tape it up so that way it stays flat. So, whoa, plane almost rolled off. So let's put a little bit of hinge tape on our rudder at this point, and then we will start our next video. So you just want to make sure you go over that counterbalance, because you don't want that spot where your kickery hands are touching it, so you'll cut that end off. Or a knife, or utility knife. Cut it flat. Perfect. Let's go over here and cut the same thing. Right before the counterbalance. You don't want it to go over that line. Make it flat. Perfect. Now we're ready to go. And on there. So it finally starts looking like a plane. Start off by matching this corner to that corner here, and then pulling it down. Just like that. Perfect. Just clean that up a bit. Alright, we're good to go. It's a little bit tight up in here where the counterbalance meets the top of the rudder stab. So I'm just going to take my sanding block and smoothen that out a bit. Make a little bit of room. Now it's just barely touching it. It's flush. Perfect. Alright, so now let's tape these suckers up and let's get on with the rest of the video. Wait, I'll show you how to tape these up really quick. You just want to cut a small little piece of tape. if your plane has already been painted, if you just painted your plane and you don't want to put tape on the paint, take the tape and just sort of put it on your clothes a bit first, just so it's not as sticky. You just want it to stay centered right here. So like now we've got a centered rudder. And we'll do the same thing with the elevator, because we're going to end up doing the pole pull next. Save. When you can tape it, just put over that counterbalance and keep it steady. Alright, we're good to go. Let's get started on the next video.